evening. This time is good evening in London. I'm here with my wonderful co-host Adrienne Marks, and she is going to introduce you to another space, another dimension of your life, somewhere where you are going to feel that yes, this is me. It's me time with Adrienne Marks. Welcome, Adrienne.
Hello, Marina, and welcome to London. I apologise for the weather, although it's not too bad today. It's quite mild. Sitting here last week, it was freezing. But welcome to London anyway. And yes, I want to talk about me time again, but me time with a difference.
Me time with a difference. So, is that by any chance for people who get younger, like myself?
Yes, because age is just a number, and it really doesn't matter. But it's how you think of yourself. It's like anything, isn't it?
Absolutely. So it's always in the property real estate industry. It's always about the numbers. Where in life is always about me time. So all
Yeah,
depends when you discover that magic moment and when you decide to take it on and put your name on it.
exactly, exactly. And so, what I want to talk about this evening is, ladies who are um, 50 plus, who are baby boomers, and who are feel that there's more to life, but they don't know what to do. And it's just a way of getting in touch with who you are, the girl you used to be, um, because it's like everything, when you feeling good inside, you can change what's going on inside, which means you're giving out. When you love yourself and when you're giving out this excitement and this joie de vivre, this love of life, you can actually bring it out to other people, and it becomes really, really gorgeous. You know, what you're wearing, who you're talking to, how you're talking, the words you use. We've talked before about how powerful words are, and it's not just the words that you use outside, but the words you use inside. And that, in a way, I think is just more important. When you tell yourself, I think I've said this to you before, when I get up in the morning and I go in the bathroom, I always say, "Good morning, gorgeous." That's even if my eyes aren't open yet. Because I believe it's how if you look at a child playing, there's this innocence. And there's no reason that once we get older, the number on our birth certificate says whatever it says. But it's a piece of paper. We don't carry it around with us. We don't walk around with this number stuck on our forehead saying this is how old I am. But, I don't know if you know, I know people who have always had this middle-aged attitude, who are old even when they're young. But I know a lot of people who feel young inside. I do. And it's a state of mind, and it's how you talk to yourself, but it's also what you're eating, how you're being in the world, and what you see. If you've got a sense of fun and adventure, then you can be young. There's this wonderful old song about being young, and it's so true, because you have when you're young, you have all this excitement. You have to start doing the things that you used to do. See friends, go out for wonderful meals, talk to people. Talking to people is just the most, I think, just incredible social interaction. Really talking to people. Sitting around a table, having lunch, sitting around a table with good friends, good wine, good conversation, lots and lots of laughter. And they say that laughter is the best medicine. Forget the Botox, just keep laughing. It's so good for you. It makes you feel good. It doesn't matter how old you are. when you're with people that you care about and that you're having fun with, and you can make your day joyous, because we all have the choice, don't we? We have the choice to feel good or feel bad. We can let situations affect us. It's what, when I talk to my clients, I talk about, it's just stuff, and sometimes stuff happens, and they happen to all of us. Things happen, and sometimes they're out of our control. But you have to go, you know what? It's just stuff, and I'm not going to feed into it. I'm not going to let that affect how I am. I'm going to do the best I can. I'm going to take the best out of the situation that I possibly can. And I'm going to use it. What can I learn from this? And then move on. But if you start, I had a situation recently which totally wound me up. And I got really, really cross and very, very angry. And sent emails and phone calls, and and I spent a long time, quite a few hours, really sort of giving into this. And then suddenly I thought, you know what? The only person that's hurting is me. Why am I doing this? I don't need to do this. Let it go. And it is what it is. I can't change it now. And that's it. And so as soon as I let it go, there was like this feeling of relief and release. And I just thought, I didn't even think about it anymore. And it was, it's like if you hold a grudge against somebody, that is, who are you hurting but yourself? And this is why I say words are so powerful. You have to be careful the words that you say, not just to other people, but the words you say to yourself, because your words turn into emotions, and your emotions turn into your actions. And if you're reacting against a bad situation, it'll come back and kick you in the bottom. It really will. So you're better off going, okay, let's look at this, and being sensible about it, and just taking what you can from it and then letting it go. Because often better things will happen. Because sometimes, things, I was talking to one client yesterday, and she's had a particular situation with a prospective employer, and they've been talking to her for like most of the year, and they've come back, and it's all been an absolute nightmare. And we talked about it last night, and I said to her, you know what? And she said, I know what you're going to say. It's stuff. And I said, yeah, it is. And maybe, as wonderful as this sounded at the beginning, it's not right, because we're now thinking maybe this isn't the right job for you. If these people are behaving like this now, what are they going to be like to work for? And she said, yeah, I'm thinking that too. And I said, well, you know what? Maybe you shouldn't bother then. And she said, you're right. And I said, and maybe something much, much better, a much better opportunity is around the corner waiting for you. But it can't come. And sometimes we have to do that. We have to say, you know what? The universe knows what it's doing, and it's my sat nav thing. The universe has suddenly said go left, and you're like, maybe I should be going left and not right. Let's just listen to the sat nav and do what the sat nav tells me. And so that's what you have to do. You have to give up the outcome, if you like, and just say the universe does know better. And if I let go of all these feelings about it, then maybe the best thing and the best thing will happen for you. And that's how to be true to yourself. My favorite strap line is, life is too short not to do what makes your heart sing. And if we're spending our lives on this wheel and pleasing other people and doing things and becoming stressed out, then one day you'll wake up and there won't be any time left, and it'll be, oh my God, what happened? And so when you get to 50 or 55 or however old, and you
Or
sit back
young,
and you
or
think,
young.
or young, absolutely, absolutely, and you just think, what do I really want to be doing? Do I really want to be doing this job? Do I really want to be living in this climate? What, maybe I should think about moving. Maybe I should think about taking up a dance class, or doing something to make my heart feel good. You know, it's never ever too late. It really isn't.
I think I just recall again, I'm not quite sure how accurate this is, but I think Pablo Picasso said that it takes a long time to become young. so, so, I'm thinking that the most amazing thing in life that happens to us as humans is to keep your mind young,
Mm,
because when you stop um, learning, you feel the weight of everything, and you are not getting engaged into a new idea or a new project, and you feel that whole weight, on you. But when you carry on learning, doesn't matter you are 20 or 50 or 80 or 100, as long as you keep learning, you stay young. And
that,
is the most amazing feeling in life is to keep your mind young and be curious and do research and want to discover things, new things, and want to do things in a different way, and start being somebody else and reinventing your life, and all the things that keeps you excited and makes your life worthwhile. I think that the biggest challenge in life is when you stop to be relevant to yourself. So if you don't have that energy to go into new things, to discover something else and become somebody else, and inspire other people, it's all dying inside. So that's why I think it takes a long time to become young, and Picasso was so right. Not only because you didn't want to, it's just because life commitments, crisis, everything crashing down on you, all these crashing demands from everyone, starting with your nearest and dearest and ending up with society at large, are keeping you stuck into stagnation, spiritual stagnation. And you have to retire or be made redundant to be able to understand how beautiful life is, and how much you are in charge with staying young and staying curious and doing research, and um, enjoying this feeling of keeping your mind active and young.
exactly, exactly. And they do say that one of the things about Alzheimer's, for instance, is if you keep learning and reading and being with people and keeping yourself young, then you've got a better chance of um, not, not having dementia, not literally losing your mind, because you're keeping yourself active. And that's the thing, and it is so important. And I think there are a lot of people out there who want to, but they don't know how. And you were saying about nearest and dearest, and I think a lot of times that women especially have this sort of yearning inside to be something else, to actually do something else. But they are married to or live with or whatever, their nearest and dearest just are so negative, or just don't want to, are happy with the status quo. So they feel like if they say anything, well, it's not, I'm not comfortable, I'm not happy, but if they say anything, somebody will say, oh, what are you complaining about? Look how good your life is. Look at this, look at that. And so they feel like other people will say they're being ungrateful, or why would they want to do something else when their life is so, ordered and wonderful, and inside they're dying, and they have no idea how to make that step. And what they don't realize is that it's not to the detriment of other people. By fulfilling yourself, you're making your relationships better because you'll be able to give so much more, because you won't be obligated, you won't begrudge having to do things for people, because you'll have this joy and this light inside you because you're feeling fulfilled. You know, you can't keep giving to people without losing stuff yourself. If you give from a good place because you want to, then it just grows and grows, and the feeling of love and excitement is, it can go on forever. It can make you feel, you know, when it's like this, for me it's like this bubbling up inside. It's just like, oh my God, it's just the most amazing feeling. So why would you want to deny yourself that feeling?
I
And as
think
I
I
said,
think I think it's if you don't mind me, because I'm very passionate about this subject, as I reinvented my life when I retired, and I was 51 years old, and now I'm 54 years young. So so it's all about to do with um, looking at things in a different way.
yes.
So have the courage to think in a different way, because
Mhm.
social conditioning and limiting beliefs are just the 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 the, the fake creation of society. You
Yes.
know, it's like society fakes it till makes it. You know, so you get
Yes.
old before your time, and you have
Mm.
to have the courage and unveil that side of you, to discover the impossible dreams, to conquer challenges and succeed and invent solutions, and put yourself together, look deep inside, and bring out all these goodies you've been born with, all these great talents and gift and laughter and feeling good and feeling normal without thinking, oh, what other people are going to think of me. Why would you care? It's not your job. It's not your job to go into somebody else's mind and keep yourself at bay and in a total state of stagnation, just to make sure you don't challenge their expectations.
Mm.
It's nothing. What other people think of you is absolutely nothing to do with you. It's not
No.
your job to deal with that. It's their job, their
Mhm.
problem, their challenge. So whatever you might think, maybe people don't even think of you anyway. so so it's this overwhelming feeling that, oh, I have to stay on the right lane, and I have to just make sure I'm approved, and I'm allowed. And why would you care, what other people think of you? That's actually the first thing where um, after 50 you have to start reinventing your life. Why
Mm.
would you care? You paid your dues, you done everything, you raised your kids, you um, done your degrees, you paid your mortgage, you work like a slave, and enough is enough. So stop thinking what other people are thinking, because they don't think for you, and you
Yes,
can't think for them.
exactly. And it's giving yourself permission to be who you can really be, who you really want to be. And it gives you the permission to, as you say, reinvent yourself. I've done exactly the same thing. Totally reinvented myself, from all sorts of things, and it's very, very exciting. And when I say, it doesn't matter how old you are, I am now, and I find this really funny, I am actually 67 years old.
Wow, Adrienne,
I
that's
know,
shocking.
and it's just, for me, it's just the funniest thing, and it's taken me. This is why I'm so passionate about helping other women, because do you know what? It took me so long of struggling and being in the wrong relationships and doing all sorts of things that I thought were, quote, the right thing to do. And then one day I realized it's not, because I wasn't pleasing myself. I wasn't doing what made my heart sing.
So basically, Picasso was absolutely right. It takes a very long time to become young.
Oh, totally, totally. Oh, I've always had, it's always been there. And there's always been, little glimpses of it, but it's taken a very, very long time for me to actually go, woo, I'm here.
So Adrienne, thinking of the baby boomers out there, people who they pave the way to success with their sweat and blood, and perhaps they can't even remember when last they felt excited about something, because they're always overcommitted, overwhelmed. What would be a golden rule? What would be the number one step for them to come out of that state and go into a sunshine state like Florida, for example?
That's lovely. The first thing is changing your thinking, and it's what I say all the time. If you start changing your thinking, then everything else changes. So the first thing you have to start doing is, we talked about it before, perspective. So first thing in the morning when you wake up, if you're still waking up to an alarm, instead of going, oh my God, and ducking under the duvet again, or looking at your emails, the first thing you say when you wake up in the morning is, today is a wonderful day, I choose to make it so. And really, really feeling that. And then getting into the bathroom and smiling at yourself and going, good morning, aren't you wonderful? Or hello, gorgeous. Or, I love you. I love and accept myself. And when people first start doing that, it's weird, because people just, we don't do things like that. It's just a really sort of strange thing to do. But when you start doing it, if you start doing it every day, when you start being grateful for all the things that you've got in your life. When you
I think, Adrienne, I don't know, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel that if you start to you make a rule to yourself to include the excluded, which you are the one, you always excluded yourself from your, wish list, from everything in life. You always, you never had enough room on your to-do list to put yourself first. You always put other people there. So perhaps the first rule would be just to include yourself, because you excluded yourself, and restore that balance. Make take that responsibility that no one is in charge of your happiness. Happiness is coming from inside, and you have to spread the love. And unless you decide to include yourself on that list of famous people you love, people you respect, people you care for, nothing will change.
No, exactly.
Nobody can be you. Nobody can put you on the pedestal. And unless you start loving yourself, you can't love anyone. At some point, you'll be an empty vessel. You'll have nothing to give. So what then?
Exactly. And that's the point. And by saying, today is a wonderful day, you're taking control of the day. You're sort of putting it out to the universe. You're saying, you know what, I'm going to have a good day today. Whatever comes my way, I'm going to deal with it, and it's going to be okay. And you're putting yourself first. And I think for a lot of people, a lot of women especially, they find that very, very difficult to do. But it has to start. You've got to start with one, I always say this, simple steps. So a little step, it's like a baby, you've got to do one step at a time. You can't expect a baby to suddenly stand up and start running. It has to crawl first, and then after crawling, and then when it's happy crawling, then perhaps it can stand up, and then maybe as soon as it stands up, it will fall on its bottom. But that's fine, because it's little steps that you have to do all the time. You can't expect to run before you can walk, and it's so you have to start. The mind is a very, very powerful tool, but what people have to realize is that they have control over their mind, not their mind has control over them. And so by putting in, you talked before about limiting beliefs, by putting in just a little, a little sentence every single morning, you know, today's going to be a wonderful day. I choose to make it so. And then looking at yourself in the mirror and going, good morning, gorgeous. How are you? Or I love you. I love and accept myself exactly as I am. That's so, so powerful. And then before you go to sleep at night, say, thank you. Just go over the stuff. What a wonderful day I've had. Or maybe it's not been so good, but I managed to sort this out. I did that. I did this, and just being grateful and saying, I am safe and I'll have a wonderful night's sleep. And you will, because you're putting it out there. And to begin with, it's like, it's like anything. When you first start doing it, you have to consciously do it. It's like when you first learn to drive and you get in the car the first time when you're on your own and you go, oh my God, what do I have to do first? Oh, mirror, I have to signal, I have to maneuver, and everything is you're doing it. But then when you've been driving a few years, you go, you get in the car and you turn the ignition on and off you go. You don't even think about it. So that's what these thoughts do. You just start building them up. So you have to do it very, very slowly, like you would learning to drive a car. So you're doing this, and then you find that after a week or 2 weeks, and you do it every single day, because it's the repetition that makes the difference. You can't just say it one day and then expect life to be wonderful, because life's not like that. You have to keep doing it, because the mind has no sense of humor whatsoever, and it believes everything you tell it. So if you tell it you're going to have a good day today, and then tomorrow you say the same thing, and the day after, and the day after that, then gradually your whole mindset will change, and then you can add other things to it, and you can be saying, I love and accept myself every day. I love and accept myself exactly as I am. And when you start doing that, and then your health improves, because you somehow your body suddenly goes, well, I'm not going to eat anything that's not good for me, and I'm not going to do this, and I won't do that. But I might go to the gym more often, or I might do some exercises at home, or I might go dancing, or I might see some friends and laugh, and it's all this stuff.
I love it. I love it. And Adrienne, I'm thinking now, in defense, because I was one of these people who was ready to die. And before my time was due, because I thought, now I retire, nobody needs me. What do I do next? What's next? All I knew was to live other people's life, and
Mm.
my life mission was to keep them happy. And not only that is exhausting, but you can't make somebody else happy. They have to be happy themselves and for
Exactly. Yeah.
themselves. But I think it's this expectation from individual to grow up, like, oh, grow up,
Mm.
and then is the challenge of remaining young at the same time. So it's like, you are contradicting your mind. You are telling your mind, you are expected to grow up, and from the other hand, I want to stay young at heart, and your mind is confused. So you really have to bring harmony. This is how I managed to come out of that dark room where I found myself thinking, "Oh my God, what? It was all dark, So I
Yeah.
was like this old paper picture, the Kodak one, when you keep it in the camera and then you go in a dark room to develop the photograph. So I felt in that place, in that dark room, and I sat there for a while, but I had no idea till I got used to the darkness, you know and then I just bring up the colors. I think unless you get to that very dark place when you feel you are not needed, you are done, you raise your kids, you created a business, you retire, you make room for others, so you have to go, but go
Mm.
where? So when I got to that into that dark room, I realized that my only choice is to develop my colors. And from that moment, I understood, because you know it, but then unless you understand that, doesn't matter what you know. So then I understood that basically I don't need to grow up. I have to be myself and remain young, and my mind goes with that. So I don't need to grow up. Why should I grow up?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think having a sense of, um, and we call it being young, but it is. It's a sense of freedom. It's a sense of, um, ourselves, and knowing that we can be silly and weird and quirky, and because we're all unique. I mean, we have, um, we all our fingerprints. There isn't two people in the whole world who have the same fingerprints. But that's what we're like. That's our personalities. And people, I don't know why people always want to be the same as everybody else. They want to, so they go into the same shops and they buy the same clothes, and they look like everybody else, and they're like little clones of everybody. And God forbid they should try and be unique and different. I think it's wonderful to be unique and different. It's exciting, it's fun. And then they worship at the altar of celebrity, because celebrities are different. Let's face it, they're all very different from each other, or this, and so it's really, really strange why people would do that. And yet, there are so many people who are in this prison of believing that they have to be exactly the same as everybody else. And so, oh, I used to have this thing, and I used to call it my happy ever after syndrome. And I used to think, why couldn't I be like everybody else? Instead of rejoicing in my difference, I wanted to be like everybody else. And so I wasted so much time trying to be like everybody else and being incredibly unhappy, because that wasn't who I am. And it's certainly who I wasn't then. And so, do you see what I'm saying?
Yes, absolutely. And I think if I were to be granted a wish, my one wish would be that um, nobody will expect anyone, doesn't matter that they're children, they're students, and no parent, no advisor, no teacher, no coach ever will ask their students, their children, their friends to grow up. That's my wish. I wish nobody will ever be expected to grow up.
Mm,
And once that accepted, is a total different world.
yes,
Because if I see a 65 years young gentleman or lady running, singing in the rain, that's normal.
yes,
I love dancing in the rain, and I just don't care. I've always been that way.
yeah.
But I felt that sometimes, when my kids grew up, at first it was okay, we're all the same age. But
Mhm.
then when they grew up, I never grew up. Actually, I was still, the same. So they were looking at me like, oh mom, I was embarrassing them.
Yes, yes, that's the trouble, isn't it?
So yes, that will be my one wish. Never anyone to be expected to grow up.
Yeah, that's an awesome wish. That really is. Because as you say, it puts restrictions on people, and it's very sad. It really is. And people just waste their lives wishing for something, but never having the courage to step up and be themselves.
And it goes to all levels, because what's right, what's wrong, nobody knows. It's like, I was witnessing a discussion. In front of me, there are these two ladies, and they're talking about somebody else, and they're saying, oh, he left his wife for her, and now they got married, and he's going to do the same to her, because and this and that.
Yeah,
And then, because I couldn't help it, I just overheard everything. They were like half a meter from me, so I couldn't
yeah.
just not hear. and then they were disclosing each other's adventures with because they were both married and they were having affairs to keep the marriage alive, apparently. So I'm thinking, oh, come on. You cannot judge anyone. You cannot even judge yourself. Why would you judge somebody else? Why would you question their intention? You never know. You don't know what's in their life. You don't know what's happening. You don't know, how important might be for somebody to, be with the love of their life, and they will sacrifice everything for them. And that, to me, it's more um, it's moral. It's morally right, instead of lying to the other person and having an affair just to keep the marriage alive.
I
That
mean,
doesn't make
that's
sense to me.
crazy. But just think of the other scenario. If you're in love with your partner, if you really do love your partner, but things are, not good particularly. If you start changing the way you are and changing your perception and changing what you do, you don't have to go outside to find someone else. This could become your new lease of life. If you
So
start
true.
doing
So
things,
true. Yes.
if you start sort of, changing the way you look, if you start sort of doing some exercises, you can do really simple exercises at home. You don't have to go to the gym. You can go running, you can go swimming, you can do yoga, whatever. And you start sort of looking at what you're wearing, perhaps, and changing your outfit, changing your hairstyle, changing your attitude, because it's a two-way thing. It's not just, oh, he sits there watching television every night. You've got some say in the matter. If you walked in, say, one evening wearing, his shirt and a pair of panties, I bet he'd stop watching the television very quickly. And it's all about reaction and how you feel. Feeling sexy is about what's inside. You don't have to wear sort of 12-inch heels and, look like a hooker, for God's sake. You can do with the partner that you've got. And that's what I think that the trouble is, that when you first meet somebody and you fall in love, and it's the most magical feeling, and then suddenly 6 weeks in, everybody goes, oh, the honeymoon's over, because people stop trying. They don't make the effort. They come home from work, and then what they call real life gets in the way. And it's the bills, it's the shopping. So instead of going to the supermarket on a Saturday, go to a local market, get some fresh food, taste some cheese, go out for lunch, have a nice glass of wine together.
Absolutely, I do all these things, and even more, which I think, I don't know what you think about this, but I really like myself. I really love myself so much, and I'm thinking, oh my God, what if somebody walks in and they want me to change, or to change their way instead of me changing the way I want to change into, you know. So that holds me back from having a relationship with somebody. I'm not the type of person to be by myself, but um, in the last 8 years, I developed this. I don't know this state of mind where I'm thinking I'm lonely. I know I'm never alone, but I
Right.
feel lonely, and I love it. Is that wrong? I don't know. I just
No,
at,
no,
at, at the
listen.
beginning I was worried. I was thinking, oh my God, what I'm turning myself into. I'm,
But I
I
don't
feel
think people.
lonely, and I feel it's right to feel lonely, because I know I'm never alone. I have my thoughts, I have the universe, I have the nature, I have the friends, I have everything and
Yeah,
more.
yeah.
I have
But
it all.
I don't think you are lonely as such. I mean, lonely is somebody who hasn't got anything in their life.
It's
Being
just
alone.
because I spent lots of time thinking and writing, and traveling is always a matter
Yes,
of listening to
yes.
somebody else, not necessarily speaking. So,
Mm,
so I just feel um, I am absolutely never alone. That's a fact.
yes.
But I feel lonely, as in I don't have anyone to to share my happiness with, and I feel that's all right.
Yeah. If that's how you feel, then it's more than all right. It's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. Because as you say, the danger is meeting somebody and then, would they expect, this is the trouble, isn't it? Because we get to a stage in our lives where we've got, being lonely is, I think, is a difficult thing to quantify. It's, to me, being lonely is where you don't have friends, where you don't have anything to occupy you, and you spend all your time on your own. That's being lonely. But what you're doing is, you see, you've got your writing, you've got all sorts of things, so you're complete. You don't need a man in your life to complete you, and that's the thing. You're very, very self-contained, but you don't have somebody to share some of those, moments with, if you like.
Yes, and I think I would be too much anyway.
Yeah, you probably would be. You probably would be. But there's nothing wrong in sort of, having sort of little dalliances. I mean, that will keep you young and excited. And I think sometimes that, if you met, I don't know, maybe you have, but if you met somebody that was on the same wavelength and you really, really got on, he would probably be in that same space as well, as far as he was concerned. And so little dalliances, coming together every so often, and eating and drinking and, going to bed and having glorious sex, going on holiday, whatever, together, but then going off and doing your own thing. To me, that would be perfection, absolute perfection. Because I don't think that, that everybody is meant to be in a relationship that is, 24/7. Because
But you see the advantage for those people who feel the need to be with somebody is that you have Facebook, and I've been asked to get married every single day in the last 3 years since I start using Facebook. So it really is not, you are not short of people who ironically, they don't know you, but they want to be with you.
oh yes, yes, yes.
but but it's
Yes, we
all
know
to do
that.
with your own standards,
Mm.
because the standards of your thinking determine the standards of your life. And when
Exactly.
you reach the point where you feel that yes, I have it all, and I can share it all, because that's the secret of living your life with purpose, is sharing. Why would you give that away, for something which you don't really know that, I don't feel it's even moral to make a trade between having everything you ever dreamed of, just for the sake of being like everybody else and being in a relationship.
Well,
I don't think that's morally
yeah,
right.
yeah. And also, not only is it not morally right, it's it's emotionally wrong, because you said it before, nobody can make you can't make anybody else happy, and nobody can make you happy. So being happy in yourself and doing what you enjoy and being fulfilled is really important. If you're lonely, which means then you're not complete, you won't be if you're lonely, then you're not going to be fulfilled. And if you take on a relationship, if you go into a relationship with somebody just to be with somebody, you don't, they say if you run away, you still take you with you. So you would still take you with you. So after, the honeymoon is over, after the 6 weeks or whatever it is, you'll be back in the same situation, except now it's worse, because now you're in a relationship with somebody and you've got to think about his feelings and point of view, when so you're not even being independent anymore. So I think that's
Creating an
far worse,
addiction, I
far,
think
far
that's that's one of the dangers, because you reach a point where, like you mentioned before, is a comfort zone, and you don't need to share quality moments anymore. You don't need to, you don't feel like making an effort anymore, not necessarily for the other person, but for yourself.
Yeah.
And you let yourself down. So when you let yourself down, that shows. And the person next to you is the first one to suffer. And that is a very tricky situation when you feel let down because you let somebody else down. And it's very, very difficult for me to understand how you get out of that.
Yeah.
But in any case, I was with my son. We were doing or buying something, and at the till, my son insisted to pay for the shopping, and I said no, 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 and he said no, I insist. And the lady who was there, she said, oh, that's very kind of you. And she said, my mom always done it for me. And I said, you are his mom? I said, what do you think? Because I know it's a trend, and especially in Los Angeles.
Oh,
Um,
he was your.
you know, the cougar generation. So baby boomers are it's just like it's natural to be with a younger man, which I
Yeah.
found it because I have two sons and I have a daughter as well, but I have two sons. To me, it's like incest, like, oh my God. So I'm very old fashioned, like I'm thinking how, and it's just strange how um most of the time younger men will be after you if you are a baby boomer. I'm not
Mhm.
quite sure if it's because they feel you can support them and sustain their style of life or something, but I don't think it's always the case. I think it's more complicated, and I can't understand. But it's something about this trend. um, it's trendy to be with a younger man, and it's trendy to be with a older woman if you are a young
Yeah. And
male. So
I
I really don't know. Maybe you can help me here, because that's a trend, and it's so. One of my friends in Los Angeles,
mhm.
she had an affair with a very young man, and I was appalled. I was like, I put
Really?
my hands on my face, and I'm not judging anyone. I'm not that type of person, but I felt like crying. I felt, oh my God, and she was emotionally you know um emotionally, it was a very traumatic time for her because they split up and all of that. Anyway, so to me, I was thinking she was my friend, and everything happened while we were friends, and she never mentioned it to me. And she got hurt because
Yeah.
she felt embarrassed, or we never talked about, actually. So she couldn't know if I'm going to judge her or not. She knew I'm not judging anyone anyway. But imagine her trauma. So she was heartbroken anyway. Something really bad happened, and she couldn't share that with anyone because you know
Because of the age
thinking,
gap thing.
what other people are going to think. So again, what do you care?
Well,
But so what do you think about this trend? Because it's not only in Los Angeles. I I think it's in Asia as well. And it's quite, to me, it's I don't understand what I missed. you know
okay. For me, I have been out with last year. I went out with two beautiful guys, um, both of whom were incredibly, incredibly young. And it was a great sort of it was a great ego boost for me, and I absolutely loved it. But there was nothing really there. I mean, it for me. It was just fun. It certainly wasn't serious. But the opposite side of that for me is that men my age are boring. My problem, if you like, for me is that I look a lot younger than I am. I certainly act a lot younger than I am.
that's a nice problem to have, Adrienne.
But, but men my age they're like old men. They are old men. There's very, very few of them that I've met that I could say, yeah, So for me, the age thing, you see, a 25-year-old is too young because I've got nothing to talk to him about. They might be beautiful, but what do you talk to them about? But for me, a guy who's sort of like mid-40s, mid to late 40s, that is like perfect. That is absolutely perfect. But the trouble is, this is where it gets really, complicated, if you like. Men of like 45, 50 want young girls of 25.
Of course. They always would. I mean, but
My age group, and
uh,
men of 65 and 70. Um, Last year, I saw a friend of mine who I've known for many, many, many years, and we'd lost touch. And I met up with him again last year. And I remember him as being sexy and wonderful and awesome. But he's an old man now. And he was so
oh, can I
boring.
meet him?
It was so awful. I can't begin to tell you how bored I was. And
Oh my
so
God.
sad because all these years I've had this wonderful this memory of him, and I shouldn't have I shouldn't have
Yes.
gone back there because it really spoiled him. Because
So something crushed him. Something made him grow old eventually. Something must have happened to him.
so we've come full circle. It's about mindset. It's back to mindset again. It's how it's how what you believe, and a lot of the men of my age group think that they're old. That's how they behave. It's pipe and slippers, not pipe and slippers, but you know what I mean. It's
So in effect, me time is the resolution, is the Bible, is the medicine, is the magic, um, non-chemical remedy for growing old. And it's I have this conviction that life is a romantic affair, like
yeah,
live by yourself or fall in love, fall out of love. You always have to romance yourself. You have to discover yourself all the time. And that's the best way of feeling young, because it's all about how you feel inside. So it
yeah.
doesn't matter how you look outside. Of course, helps if you look better or whatever. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to have surgery just to look younger. I feel younger than ever.
Mm.
So is that affair you have with your own um, um, age, with your mind, and stay young. And actually, I have a dear friend of mine. She wrote a book, um, Forever Young, and she got the whole program on what to eat, how to
Yeah,
exercise, and all of that to help that experience of getting younger. I think it's wonderful sharing with an open mind, and at the end of the day, as long as whatever situation you are in, um, especially in matters of the heart, find someone and share. You can't just
absolutely.
burying your dream or your suffering or your pain alive, because they will implode. So find someone, find a mentor, call Adrienne, get in touch. We are here to listen to your
Yeah,
story. And actually, hopefully next week we'll have a dear friend of mine. She runs the Academy of Burlesque. And hopefully she'll be able to join us next Thursday. And
fabulous.
she will tell us a secret or two
That's
about me time.
That's excellent. I look forward to that.
Thank you so much, Adrienne. You are absolutely amazing. You are so awesome. And exposing your young age to the realities of our world and our society is a super, super, super courageous
Thank
act
you.
of love for humanity. Thank you, Adrienne. We'll see you all next time. We'll be both in London. From both of us, is good evening, wherever you are.
Bye bye. Have a nice evening. Bye
Goodbye,
bye.
Radio Works. Goodbye.